I'm Amber Davies, and this is your 5-minute call. This is the space where musical theatre takes centre stage. From unforgettable backstage stories with incredible special guests to insights from my life and my theatre journey. We're leaving it all on the mic every single week, so let's jump in. On the episode today, we have my onstage lover and co-star. He has been in the industry for longer than 12 years. It's the incredible Ollie Savile. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of your 5-minute call with my beautiful co-star and my onstage hubby, Mr. Ollie Savile.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I was just thinking this will actually be, you'll be getting an insight here, everyone, to our actual 5 minutes that we have before beginners, won't we?
Interesting enough, my first question on every episode is what's your pre-show ritual? But I feel like I'm involved in yours.
100%. Well, I'm actually a bit weird. I'm like ready before the half. I'm always like, mic, costume, bronzer is on. And I just have my little I have a good 10-15 minutes of just chill because normally the day's been a bit crazy. And then, Has it? What are you about? No idea why. And then the 5 minutes call gets called and I come and see you.
Every 5-minute call, I have a knock at the door.
Sick of me.
He hasn't done his tie yet, so he'll basically come in and do his tie in my room where we check in on each other, make sure we're okay, have a little goss.
Yeah.
Because basically, Ollie and I spend, all of the show
the
together.
whole show, yeah.
It is just you and I, really, isn't it?
That's the first one. See how many of them we can get in.
Yeah. There is a song called You and I in the show. But basically how it was portrayed to us as Vivian and Ed is that it's like a two-man play.
Yeah.
So that check-in at the start for us is...
We just started doing it, didn't we, when we first opened? And we were both pretty ill when we first opened. We had this horrible flu thing that was going around. So we were already checking in anyway. And then that sort of just stuck. And I've never really done it in any other show, but... Yeah, I just think it was important. We're about to spend 2 hours together. Yeah. And the check-in is nice. So.
Yeah, I love it. It's good for my soul, you know.
My soul.
So let's go all the way back to the start.
Of the show?
No, of life.
Oh, God. Okay.
When you were just a speck in your father's ball.
Oh, wow, there it is.
When did you discover that you had this voice on you?
Oh, I'm going to tell you right now, I was not a singer.
What?
I still don't think I am in my heart of hearts. I know you're looking at me like that now, and I know I can sing and hold a tune, but I basically grew up on the side of a hill.
Yeah.
In Buxton in Derbyshire. And we had a little opera house. So musicals used to go there.
Yeah.
And so it's my gran side, so my dad's side of the family where it really comes from. She did amateur dramatics. During the war. And she used to work at the Opera House. So I'm the only grandchild that has been taken to the local panto since I was 2 years old. Everyone else was 8 or 9. Nobody could sit through it, but I just sat there fixated. Other than my gran, there's nobody in my family that does this professionally. Okay. She never did it professionally. It was just a bit of a hobby. So my family used to take me to watch Joseph and, all the different musicals that used to come, the little sort of smaller musicals. And when I was about 10... I went to watch Blood Brothers.
Was that the penny drop?
Yeah. I remember turning to my dad and going, what? Who are, I was so moved. I laughed, I cried. And as a 10-year-old, I didn't know what, I was just like, wow, who are these people? And my dad was like, oh, it's their job. They're actors. And that was the worst comment of his entire life. Because that was it. I was like, so they're getting paid that's what I want to do when I grow up. That is it. And then I went to a little Saturday drama school. It's a bit like now they have Stagecoach and stuff like that, but it was just a little in a village hall, and we did shows, and we actually came up to Edinburgh to do the Fringe when I was 16, and I basically I met one of my sort of lifetime friends there and just fell in love with it, and that was it. And then at school, I'm as well really horrendously dyslexic. They didn't know that at the time, so I didn't get any GCSEs apart from music, drama and art, and everything else I failed. So yeah, that's sort of where it started. And
just because you've brought up dyslexia, I'd love to go into that a tiny bit, because if there's anybody that's listening who has dyslexia, you have an actor sitting right here who has had the most unbelievable career, and you have not let it hold you back at all.
No, I did at the beginning.
Did you?
It really affected me at the beginning because back when I first left drama school, and even at drama school, it was a lot of sight reading. So you go do a lot of TV auditions and it'd be sight reading, which I couldn't do. And I pretended that I didn't have it because I was like, it's going to knock me back. And as I got a bit older and a bit uglier, I realised that I just used to be like, look, you're going to have to give me a couple of minutes here. I just need to just look over it because I'm fine once I know the words. And I've seen them once or twice. I'm okay.
Yeah.
But reading them fresh, I mean, sometimes I read stuff. It's hilarious. I laugh at it now.
So would your advice be just take 5 minutes just to...
Yeah, everyone's got their own coping mechanisms, but you just got to, in the room, be like, we're just going to have to bear with me 2 seconds while I just look over this. But no one ever, that you get it days before.
Yeah.
You never ever
you
get given anything on the day. But if you ever was, and if I ever do, I'm always like, cool, I'll see you after lunch.
Yeah, I just need some time with this because I suffer with dyslexia. I love that. I love that we're getting straight into the...
Deep, straight away.
Getting deep. Then you trained at Mountview.
Yeah.
Did you love it?
Loved it and hated it. You couldn't pay me to go back to drama school. Mm-hmm. But going back to where I was saying I wasn't a singer, I had singing lessons, so leading up to going to drama school, but I couldn't sing. Like it's not like a gift, as much as I joke and be like, oh, the gift is tired. Like it's not. It's something I've definitely learned how to do.
That's wild to me when you look at your CV.
Yeah, but I never auditioned for musical theatre schools, so I was going to be a straight actor. That's all I ever did up until we used to do little Shakespeare's and like plays and stuff like that at this drama school, and we did one musical, Dracula Spectacular, where I realised Dracula Spectacular. I don't think I've ever said that out loud in my 30s. And that's where I was like, oh my God, I can actually sing. And I played Dracula and sort of sang my way through it. And then I did end up going to do a BTEC in musical theatre. Okay. So I was like, I do love this, but it's not, I'm an actor. That's what I'm going to do. And I auditioned for all acting colleges apart from, well, I did Mountview and I was accepted on the acting course at Mountview, but I also did auditioned for musical theatre. Same with Arts Ed. And I was actually offered the musical theatre course at Guildford, but I auditioned for the acting course. So they obviously saw something in me. And I was going to go and do straight acting at Mountview. And there was something in me that was like, I don't think I can study Brecht and Shakespeare for 3 years.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, music does something to me. And, and it was like, I'm doing it. And that was it. So...
God, you learn something new every day. I've literally been working with you for how long? And I had no idea that your first instinct into the industry was to do straight acting when you've got a voice like you do.
That's very kind of you, but yeah, it's so weird because it's that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it.
And when did you go to college? Was that before college?
1842. I went in 2006 or 7. Left 2009. I left 6 months early.
Well, best advice from him because he's been in this industry for so long. No, we always have a joke because I'm a little bit younger than Ollie. So everything he has done, I always say, was that before Christ?
That was just, it was black and white.
Yeah, it was a black and white days. So just to give you guys a little insight of, if you don't know what Ollie Savile has done, I'm just going to read you a couple of... I'm going to read you a little bit of his CV. And like for me, I feel like any graduate or anyone in the industry reading this, it's like every iconic musical that you want to be in, he's done, you know. So Wicked, Phantom, Les Mis, Mamma Mia, Knights of the Rose, Emoji Land, Rocky Horror Show, Last Ship, Annie Get You Going concert at the Palladium, which we nearly did together.
Yeah, crazy. That is crazy.
So close, but instead you did it with Rachel Tucker, so you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I gave you that. Let's kind of dive into it. What was your debut?
My professionally was Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Okay. That was the very first one out of drama school, and I was first cover Joseph on that.
Was that West End or tour?
That was UK tour. So I was sat in the ensemble and I played Simeon, which I think was the second oldest brother, and I did that for 6 months.
Okay.
And it was Ken Wright's version, and it was 2 shows a day, 3 shows on a Saturday. And I'm quite open about this, but I remember ringing my agent going, if this is what musical theatre is, I'm cool. I'm done. Thank you. No, thank you. I'm going to go back and retrain because this is awful. It was just, and it wasn't the musical. It was just 2 shows a day. Relentless. And on 3 shows on a Saturday, and it was weekly touring, you do the first and second show, I think it was like 2 and 5, and then between the 5 and the 7:30 show, you'd come off after the second show and they'd go, ladies and gentlemen, that's your half hour, and you go straight into that. It was awful.
Blimey.
So yeah,
Is that even legal?
Not anymore. Not anymore. Certainly not anymore, but what, 16 years ago? Yeah. Crazy. So yeah, that was my first one.
And
Then I went to do, I think I did a little panto in Wakefield, which I don't think is even on the CV anymore.
It's not.
It's not.
I've not put that on the list.
And then I did a Mamma Mia, world tour of Mamma Mia.
All right, okay. And did you... I feel like you speak about Mamma Mia a lot, so I feel like you had a good experience.
Yeah, socially, that was one. And I was first cover Sky. I was getting paid to tour the world as a 21-year-old with some of my best mates from college. It was just insane.
Couldn't write that, could you? Like, that's just amazing.
And and the places we saw, and we were sitting down in places for like 6-7 weeks at a time, and I just couldn't believe my luck. It was honestly, and what a show as well. And I got to go on quite a bit, and it was amazing.
And did that change your like? Oh, actually, I do want to do this forever.
Oh, 100%. And as soon as I knew that on Joseph anyway, and I knew I was paying my dues. Yeah. And I did know that. But when you're in, as we know, when you're especially on tour, like the grass is always greener, and that's something you have to learn pretty quickly.
Yeah. And I love that you've had the gradual working your way up.
Yeah.
So ensemble to first cover to playing the role, like that must feel like such an achievement.
It does, looking back now. And I tell you when it did feel like an achievement was when we, dare I say it, hit the pandemic. Because I think I was on such a roll for like 10, 11, 12 years. It was only when I stopped, I then went, oh my God, yeah, actually, I have done it. Like
You've done it.
Yeah, I feel in a good position. But up until then, it was just like, you just onto the next, onto the next, onto the next. And I very rarely had, luckily, any time off. Like I always had something to go to.
Yeah. Ollie's worked with my sister Jade in Les Mis, didn't you? So I always knew who this Ollie Savile was. And at this point, you had long hair.
I had very long hair.
You had this long hair, and I kind of joke with Ollie because when I was in college training, he was like the Ollie Savile, like everybody wanted to date him. You were like going around the West End, just booking this job, booking that job, booking this job. And the first time I actually physically saw him on stage was playing Fiyero.
Yeah, it was. I remember seeing you at stage door, yeah.
And you had got me and my sister cast-rate tickets. And I remember just thinking, holy guacamole, like who is that?
And now you're sick of me knocking on your door at the 5.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
God, I remember when I was in awe of you. No, I'm always in awe of you. But I remember that. And I just remember you dominating the stage. And, Fiyero's got quite a nice track.
Yeah.
I feel like every time you came on, you had that like ability to just steal the show.
Oh, bless you.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That means the world. Thank you.
Those days have
They're
been
long
gone.
gone, aren't they? Now I'm sharing the stage with you. I have to step aside. No, I'm totally joking.
No. What was that like?
Oh my God, Wicked was a dream show of mine. So when I was doing a BTEC in musical theatre in 1984, that just opened on Broadway. So we knew of this new musical called Wicked, The Untold Story of the Wizard of Oz, and we used to listen to all the soundtracks and everything. And a friend of mine, Callum Francis, you come across Callum before? So he played Lola on Broadway, did it in Australian stuff. So he was on the dance course there. I mean, he's never done a dance show since, but he was doing the dance diploma, and we got really close on that, and we all went down to London to watch Wicked, and it was the original cast. Idina Menzel, Adam Garcia was playing Fiyero, and I sat there on like row 3 or 4, having all my savings to like get down there on the megabus and sat there going, I'm going to do that part.
Good.
I'm going to do it. And I was just in awe. And it took me obviously all the way through drama school, and then it took like 10 years before a job lined up so I could audition for Wicked. So there was a few times when I'd have an audition for it, but then I'd book something else so I could never audition. And I'm like, let's everybody go, what's your dream role? I'd be like, Fiyero, Wicked. And it never happened. And then, 1 year, the stars just aligned. And
so just to be clear, it took you 10 years.
It took me 9 years from the day I saw it, because I did the 9th and I did the 10th anniversary year. So it was 10-year full circle moment.
Wow. 9 to 10 years to get to your dream role.
Yeah.
That is just like, that's like giving me goosebumps in itself, But it was, and what a special year. I got to perform with some incredible, Rachel Tucker included, but incredible performers, and met some friends for life on that job. And it changed me as a performer. It changed
me in the industry. It sort of put me on the map a little bit, and yeah, I will always. Wicked will always have a special place in my heart.
Yeah,
completely.
I know. Well, you mention it to me every day,
there it
Ollie.
is.
So I'm like, yeah, I know you've been in Wicked.
It's true. It's true.
Now it's time for a quick interval. Go and powder your noses, and we'll see you in 2. I've got to mention your stint over in America.
Yeah.
Because for me, when people say to me, "Oh, you know, what's your goal?" and like, I always go, "Well, probably go over the pond."
Yeah.
Like, you've literally done that. You were playing opposite Sting on the last ship.
Yeah.
I want to like give me Sting's biggest darkest secret.
Oh,
No.
I mean, I can't. No. That job came out of nowhere. After Wicked, I was sort of trying to have a bit of a career rather than just like take everything that came along. So I was trying to take the right thing, this, that, and the other, and went and did some really, really cool jobs, and was sort of like, as you do, sit down with your agent and your team and all that, going, right, what we're going to do next, or what do we want to do next? What is on the cards? And this just fell into our laps, and I got an audition for it and sort of went in. I couldn't do a Geordie accent to save my life. I sounded like Northern Welsh and every other accent under the sun, but I was like, I've got to do this. This is amazing. So I went away and worked on it, and we ended up going to Toronto first, and because the show was originally on Broadway, and then it did a UK tour where Richard Fleeshman played the character I played Gideon. We took it to Toronto, and it was rewritten a little bit, and they sort of tried to finesse it because then they were going to take it to America and do a North American tour. So I did Toronto and then had to wait a year, and then we went to LA. We were in LA for like 3 months.
Okay.
And then we went to San Francisco, and then it was meant to be like DC and Boston and loads of other places, but obviously the pandemic happened. So yeah, that never happened. But those 3-4 months I spent over there was just...
You'll remember forever.
Oh my God. Like nothing I've ever done. And the people I met and the circles that we were in because of Sting, and, getting to do iHeartRadio and doing the Late Late Show and Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon and all that sort of stuff. It was like stuff you couldn't... It's crazy. Like it was absolutely crazy. But that's the amazing thing about this industry and this career is... I was chatting with, I've got a new accountant, boring, but, and he was like, will this take you overseas? And I was like, yeah, of course, yeah, it will. It takes, anywhere in the world. I couldn't even be like Europe and America. Like, I've worked everywhere. So.
You've ticked everything off,
Yeah. I can crawl back into my rock now.
Is there anything not ticked off?
Broadway.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's.
Well, you're going to get there. And also you were meant to go there.
I a few times, yeah. But.
Just didn't work out.
Thank you, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So close. But you basically were meant to, so it's there.
Yeah, of course.
You just need to get over there.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll get over. Something will bring me over, or not. I'll just go over there myself.
Yeah, it will. It will. Now, you may be looking at Ollie Savile and thinking, God, his face looks so familiar to me. I just don't know why.
Face?
Or his ass. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So you tell them.
Oh, well, so this was during the pandemic. And so during the pandemic, I mean, we can either touch on it or not, but I ended up training as a tree surgeon.
I did want to talk about that.
Natural progression from musical theatre. A very strange couple of years of my life. But anyway, so a friend of mine, we were gardening at first, and I was literally weeding some old lady's driveway on my hands and knees going, I swear I used to be in the West End. Like, what's happening? Anyway, we've all got to get by in the pandemic. And I had done a self-tape months prior for some Apple TV thing about football, which I wasn't really that bothered about. I'd done like 1 or 2 takes and sent it off, as you do, because you get loads of self-tapes. They just all go off into the ether, and hopefully one of them lands.
Yeah.
They never do.
Yeah.
And I suddenly got this phone call whilst I was on my hands and knees in the freezing cold going, I wanted to tell you yesterday, but I'm just waiting for the offer to come through. But yeah, you just booked Ted Lasso playing Luca for Apple TV. And I was like, what? And I remember sitting on this driveway just like crying, just being like, I am going to work again. I'm going to work. So yeah, and I did like 2 or 3 days, and God, it came at the right time.
Well, I freaking love Ted Lasso, and I remember watching it and thinking, is that Ollie Savile? We'd like not worked with each other or anything. And I was like, I swear to God, that's Ollie Savile. And there's an amazing shot of his ass.
No one remembers my face, just my ass. But I am stood naked in Hannah Waddingham's kitchen.
Yeah, stood naked. Were you naked?
I wasn't, but it's insinuated that I was.
Really?
Yeah.
And what was Hannah like?
Oh my God, she's a dream. So we've actually got loads of mutual friends. So I sort of known of her, obviously, by proxy, but she was incredible.
Was she?
Oh my God. And yeah, just there's quite a big crew considering it was during COVID, but it was all, regulated and all that sort of stuff. But she just, being on set with her was just amazing. And she's, so accommodating and so lovely. And I only spent a couple of days with her, but, not
But at least you
word.
did.
But at least I did,
Yeah.
in the presence of Hannah Waddingham.
So we also get a lot of questions of like, what do you do if it doesn't work out in this industry? And like, Ollie is an amazing example of he had this window during the pandemic, no income, and you went and trained as a tree surgeon for those 2 years of your life.
Yeah, it took me 3 months to do it, yeah. But I was in America and this disease was going around and flew home. They didn't fly us home straight away. And we were meant to go to DC and they were going to try and carry on. And then suddenly everything just got closed down in America and we got flown home. And then about a week later, everything got closed down here. So we're going, okay, cool, this is going to be fine. And obviously the first lockdown for a lot of people was actually quite nice. Like I realized I needed to stop. I was probably on the verge of having some sort of panic attack because I just, work for like 15 years and then suddenly you're forced to stop. And I was forced to reflect, forced to do a lot of things. But then it carried on and we're like, this industry, we're not starting up again. And if it does, we're going to be the last ones back.
Yeah.
So long story short, started working for a garden company, which I was really reluctant to do, getting paid £10 an hour. And me and a mate of mine, this guy who ran it ended up going on holiday and we were running this company for like 3 weeks and we were getting given like loads of money and we were getting paid £10 an hour. And I was like, shouldn't we be just set up our own company and do this? So I still wanted to be in the industry. My mate wasn't that bothered at the time. So he sort of like was like, I'll do it. And I was like, I'll give you my soul. But if this fires up again, I'm going back being an actor.
Yeah.
So, took us £100 a day and let's do this. So we did. We did it for like 3 or 4 months and everybody was asking for like more evening light. So we were looking at these trees going, no, you're going to need a tree surgeon. And we did that for weeks. And I just suddenly was like, why are we giving all this work away?
Yeah.
So I Googled it and saw how much a tree surgeon could earn or a tree surgery company could earn. And I was like, mate, we could be onto something here. Looked into the training, did the training, and then they're called tickets. So I got all the different tickets: tree climbing, aerial rescue, chainsaw maintenance, felling, all that sort of stuff that you need to get insurance. And then, we just started from then. I did it for I basically recouped my money back that I put into it. And then I got Rocky Horror and then traded my chainsaw in for a pair of 6.5-inch red heels.
Unbelievable.
But that is something that I'll always have and something that I'm incredibly proud of. I can't believe that I did.
You've always got that now.
Always, yeah. And it's there. And, it will, if this ever stops again, or if I do get to a point where we've actually got time because we just got no time in this job.
Yeah.
I would love to maybe set that up properly and do that. And maybe I should have done it years ago. I just never really needed to. But to have that fallback would...
Do you just feel secure now?
Well, it just means I don't have to take a job.
Yeah.
If I don't particularly want to do it or it's not going to pay me what I'm going to need to live the lifestyle that I like to live, then I don't need to do it. And that is very liberating.
Yeah.
Could you be that at the beginning of your career? No, because you just got to take the work, I think, pay your dues. But it's very liberating.
I like that. I like that a lot. Rocky Horror. What was that like?
Oh my God.
You did a European tour?
It was German tour. It was Germany, Switzerland and Austria.
Yeah, so kind of.
Kind of, yeah. But it's the German version, the BB production version.
Wait, what? You did it, you sung in German?
No, it's all in English. All in English.
Say.
No.
It's going to be like, whoa, you're a tree sermon and you can speak German.
Tree sermon?
You're a tree sermon and you can
No, well, as I said, I can barely speak English. So, trying to learn another language, not a chance. But, it's all in English. It's all English cast and it's all German crew and German band and German producers.
So did you pick up any German?
I could ask for a oat milk flat white.
Could you go on then?
Yeah, Hafermilch flat white bitter.
Wow.
And that is it.
I can say, ich liebe dich.
What's that?
I love you.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I should have, but again, the schedule was crazy and everybody over there wanted to work in their English. So as much as you try, they go, roll their eyes and then they just speak to you in English.
Okay.
And we were in a lot of like major cities, so like Hamburg and Berlin and stuff like that. So people just, and you do, at first I was like, this is awful. I want to be able to speak your language. But I should have learned a lot more than I did. But again, we were only over there for like 5 or 6 months. So
Did you love it?
I loved it. I loved the
Challenging.
show. Yeah. Very challenging. Again, very liberating. A character I've never played before.
Yeah.
Not your usual Fiyero, look into the middle distance, sort of thing. So yeah, it was a big, big, big challenge.
And how long were you on stage for?
The whole show. So I basically wasn't on for the first 15 minutes, and then that was it. Didn't leave the stage. Crazy.
Wow.
Not a bit like this, but imagine your character, but driving every single scene.
Okay.
Every single scene's you. You know, it's not like we bounce off each other. It's like, I've never felt so lonely on a stage full of people. Does that make sense?
Really?
And
Yeah.
not in a bad way, but you just like, oh, if this goes wrong, it's on me.
It's on you.
And it did go wrong a few times. And I was like, oh, there's no one to help me out here. I have just got to plow through. Or ask the audience what the lines
Yeah.
are.
I love that. Now, we're coming to the end of our session.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a couple of questions that I want to ask you from our listeners.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you've got so much experience. I want to ask you the questions so you can answer them. But I just want to ask you quickly, do you love playing Edward Lewis?
Oh my God. This is and not only because you're sat here interviewing me, but it's an absolute dream come true. And I couldn't imagine doing it with anyone else. But just, I love it. I'm living the dream. I'm getting to wear really lovely suits and sing a load of songs every night. Yeah.
I know.
Literally living the dream.
And it's weird that you say Suits because I've just started watching Suits on Netflix and I put it on my Instagram story and Ollie literally messaged me and he was like, oh my God, what's his name?
Harvey Spectre.
Harvey Spectre was my inspiration for this character and now I cannot unsee it. I'm literally talking to Harvey.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so what's the one thing you learn only by being on the job?
As in like technically or like just in the industry?
It can be anything.
I'll tell you right now, and I say this a lot when I do a lot of workshops and a lot of like Q&As with our amazing young people that we have in this industry, but be nice to people. Be nice to everyone. This industry, and not just this industry, but this world is hard enough. There's no point. Just be nice. Be a kind person.
Yeah, because like I've said on here before, talent can only take you so far. You know, it's all about who you are as a person and are you nice to work with? Is your name going to be put in rooms when you're not there? That only depends if you're a good, nice person. I like that.
Yeah, and if you know you've done something wrong, just own it.
Yeah,
just
no one's perfect.
No.
You know, we all have shitty days. Sometimes there's going to be a time where I'm going to be like, Ollie, you're pissing me off today. It hasn't happened yet.
I hope that doesn't happen. But you could say that to me and I'd go, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Today.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but that's like, we're human. Like we're on tour together, you know. We spend like every living, breathing second together on stage. So there's a time where we're going to be like, fucking hell, I can't stand your face today.
I mean, we're 6 months in and we've not got there yet.
No,
so
we're not.
I think
We're not. That's good. Yeah, oh my God, this is amazing. How would you react to someone saying this job isn't a proper job?
Oh, I'll tell you right now, and I hope my dad won't mind me saying this, but doing the last ship in Toronto, and I had a lovely apartment in the city, and I was like, Dad came over for like a week. So bearing in mind, I've been in the industry like 11, 12 years at this point. Rang him regularly. I speak to him sort of every other day. Sometimes I'd be moaning, sometimes I won't. He spent the week with me, and he at the end of the week he went, "I'm sorry." I said, "What do you mean you're sorry?" He was like, "I didn't realise what a tough life this is." I said, "It's not. I'm literally living the dream." And he was like, "No." He says, "Your life revolves around that show in the evening. I just thought you did a couple of hours work in the evening, and the gym, diet, even just your day to day. I didn't realise the auditioning, the rejection." He said, I get it. And I'm sorry that I wasn't there. I said, you don't need to be sorry. Like,
wow.
But hey, look, we're doing something we love. Sorry about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If people are like, get a proper job. I mean, they did do, school did.
Or I do think like, if people think, God, you know, is that a proper job? You try it.
100% you try it. And like the one thing as well, like coming out of drama school, nobody prepares you to have to be amazing 8 times a week. It's not just like you got to be good on press night. No.
8 times a week.
8 times a week.
And firstly, you've got to book the job.
On that as well.
Which is a mountain in itself, you know? Like, we go through so much, but we do it because we love it. This is from a listener. Do you think an agent is necessary in this industry?
Look, I've been asked this, and also, is drama school necessary? Right. I can only go off my experience, okay? I believe I've got one of the best agents. I've been with him since day dot. yes, a good agent is important. You want to get in, it depends what you want to do. There's lots of avenues, there's lots of questions that you have to ask yourself, right? Do I want to do big commercial musicals? Okay, well, I'm going to need a good agent that's going to get me in the room for that, who's going to know a lot of the good casting directors. Now, a casting director's job is to get people in the room. They're not just going to sift through thousands of things, random things. They're going to go, right, my top agents, who have you got? So the short answer, yes, I do believe you need an agent. Or an agent to get you in the door. Yeah, you can go to open call after open call, but you're in cattle calls then, you're less likely to book the job. Now, this is all about numbers, you know, and we want to have the best percentages going forward. So going to a decent drama school or training in your trade, but having that name behind you is going to help.
Yeah.
So that's what I was like, right, I need a good name. What's the best ones? I'd go to the West End, I'd look, 100 years ago when I was auditioning for drama school, and I'd go, right, Mountview, Arts Ed, Guildford were the top 3 when I was auditioning. Yeah. Lanes, Erdan, cool, sweet. Well, I want to get into one of those because that's what is in all this brochure.
Yeah.
So that's where I go. But there's lots of people in this industry that don't train.
Yeah.
And don't have agents. So
I do think from our experience, you've got a good agent, I've got a good agent. I've always had one since I graduated, and so have you, and it's worked for us. And that's kind of the routine I thought was the right way. That's kind of what you're supposed to do. But everybody has their own journeys. Like I worked with a guy called Jordan Benjamin, who was my Goldie in Back to the Future, and he never trained, and he's unbelievable.
yeah, exactly.
So everyone has different, ways of getting there, but our way is kind of the traditional way. Yeah.
But again, this whole industry is based on opinion. Right, so you're going to ask one person's opinion; it's going to be different to somebody else's, and that's like whether you think somebody's a good actor or not. We all have that opinion. This whole industry is built on opinion, and my opinion is that, and somebody else's will be something different. So you just got to take what you can with a pinch of salt, if that makes any sense.
And then the final one. Okay, I'm going to include me in this one.
Okay.
Because it says, what's been your favourite mishap on stage? But I feel like it should be from this job, from Pretty Woman.
Okay, yeah.
Have we had any funny moments?
We do, but ours are ones that I don't think the audience would ever really know, or just fluffing on lines. But the thing is, because we spend so much time together, we both know each other. That glint in the eye.
It's dangerous.
I'm trying to think what's happened. Like mishaps. Oh God, touch wood, nothing.
We haven't had anything crazy. One of us a show will fluff a line.
Yeah.
And then we have to look at each other in each other's eyes, and then I'm gone if he's fluffed a line, and then he's gone if I've fluffed a line.
But what tends to happen is actually so we have lots of conversation. These two parts is it's not a linear. You can't learn your lines. You've got to learn the conversation because it's quite real time. It's not like a showy musical. When it comes to us two. So when stuff goes wrong, I found if I fluff a line, 4 or 5 lines later, then you'll fluff
a line. Because I'm still laughing at the fact that he fluffed a line, then I get instant karma.
Yeah, but I do the same. And it's happened a few times where later on in the show, I've then fluffed something up because, anyway. I don't really know if we've had any costume mishaps or anything like that, have we?
No.
My shirt gets caught on my arm quite a lot, so I have a bit of a weird hand in the
Have
bed.
you ever had a major fluff up on stage?
I've fallen in the pit.
Please tell them this story quickly.
Oh, this is Les Mis a long time ago. In fact, with Jade was in the show as well, so I did Les Mis twice. And then went back for the second time, and we're on a Wednesday matinee, and we're in Paris. At the end of the day, you're another day older, and we're all surging forward. It's all backlit. There's smoke. Everyone's got big hoods up and stuff like that. And I used to be on the second line for the last note, and you used to have to go at the end of the day, and our line would burst through the front line, and I'd scare somebody on the front row, right? So I go at the end of the day, and just gave it a little bit too much zealous, and I tripped over Rob Houcham's foot, who was playing Marius at the time, and I just went boop over the netting. Into the pit. He grabbed the back of my coat and I landed on that netting. So I don't know if it's the Queen's Theatre back then, but the set's all changed now, but that netting does hold a human being.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God. And I was looking at the sort of violin player and I couldn't get back up onto the stage backwards. So I had to get into the audience. Now, the audience are literally sat on the stage. So I was going across the front row going, sorry, excuse me, I'm so sorry, excuse me, sorry. My hat's somewhere in the audience. I then had to climb back up on stage and it was revolving into the factory. So I started running across to go to my quick change against the revolve. So I'm running against the revolve, trying to get him.
Pay some serious cash to see that.
Carrie Oak Fletcher talks about that moment quite a lot. And they used to teach it after that going, so we're not going to do an Ollie Savile. So I was the only person to actually fall in the pit in like 27 years.
Well, I think that's iconic.
So yeah, that's
and it's definitely
something
a story to tell, you know. But I'm so glad that you guys got to listen to that, because I will never forget the first day that I heard that. I was crying, and I'll just never get over that.
Yeah, bad.
But thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait for everybody to hear this conversation, because you're just a book filled with knowledge. All the knowledge. When you got a question, ask Ollie Savile, because he'll know the answer. But I shall see you on stage soon. A couple of hours.
In a few hours.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Thanks
Thanks for
guys.
listening.
Bye.